So Joe Ferzoco. So I am one part of the Ferzoco Group.
How was that, and how did that translate into going to a real estate business?
There's somebody in your office that's doing more than you are.
Joe Ferzoco,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me.
So, Joe, for people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are and who you serve.
Okay. So so Joe Ferzoco. So I am one part of the Ferzoco Group. So it's my brother Christopher and I. We've been selling real estate together since 2008. Wonderful time to get into the real estate market. Chris started like the end of 2004, 2005. And we started just him and myself. And we were like in Ocean City, New Jersey for a while. And then we started to branch off. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go to Wildwood, I think. And back then, so like 2009, I came down to Wildwood. I've been here ever since. And we pretty much cover, if you watch any of our YouTube, I say, we cover the Jersey Shore, just not that Jersey Shore. So we cover Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Somers Point, Ocean City, Strathmore, Sea Isle, Stone Harbor, and Avalon. But North Wildwood, Crest West Wildwood, Cape May, Upper Township, Middle Township, and North Cape May. So,
if someone reached out to you and they wanted to buy up in LBI or Seaside, would you refer that to, or you could service them still in those areas?
I would say if someone wanted to buy in those areas, I would refer that out. I am doing you a disservice if I'm going to try to help you up in LBI. We've sold a few properties up there, but I just don't think it's fair. That's just mine and Chris's take. Yeah, can I do a money grab? Sure, but that's not fair to the person buying. Selling is a little bit different. We work off of comparables and things of that nature, and everything is so internet based now with your marketing and stuff like that that we can service your listing though, for sure, in that section.
So you started in the real estate business or restaurant business.
Yes, I did.
How was that, and how did that translate into going to a real estate business?
So I would say that they're the same in that you need to have a work ethic. You get into it what you put into it. I mean, as I was telling you guys before, I was probably 13 years I did that. I was in my late 20s. In my 30s, I got out in 2008. Ironically, in 2007, 2008, just before even the economic downturn that we had. So being in the University City area, Philadelphia, so it was very University of Penn and Drexel based, but with staff, not with young kids. We didn't really do that too much. But you have to work at it. And, real estate is easy. However, it's a difficult thing from a standpoint. You have to work. If you want to sit and wait for business to come to you, it's going to be a lonely business for you. And I think that just knowing that, okay, in a restaurant, I'm going to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to leave at 12 o'clock at night. Real estate, I come in the morning, I prospect, as my brother does, 2-3 hours a day from like 8:30 to 11:30, 12 o'clock. And that's not an easy thing to do, because you're out looking for business. So I think those two, they kind of intertwine that way from a standpoint of you have to have a work ethic, and you have to be willing to. Customer service is make me feel important, and I need to make sure our clients, that they are the number one thing in the whole transaction. It's not me, it's them. And when you're doing restaurant, it's food and it's the quality and it's your customer service. And the same thing does equate to selling real estate. It's customer service.
100%.
Yeah.
So you're a high producing real estate agent.
I would
team.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're a top producer.
Yeah.
What would you say in 2024 your total volume was, or units?
We did a little bit over 100 units. I think we did 105 units in 2024, and we were over 60 million in volume. Yeah.
Wow.
The volume thing is, ironically enough, my brother Chris and I, we belong to a coaching program. I don't know, am I allowed to say the coaching?
Yeah, of course.
We belong to the Mike Ferry organization. Actually, this week is the 50th anniversary of MFO. Their Superstar Retreat is in Las Vegas. We passed on this one this year, but so I have a real estate coach, as does Chris. I mean, greatest golfer, well, one of the greatest golfers, Tiger Woods. He always has a coach. The greatest quarterback ever to play, Tom Brady, my guy. He had a coach.
Are you a New England guy?
I am a New England guy. I was born and raised. I park my car. In case anyone hasn't fixed that up yet, I do that. So I'm not I'm not a transplant. Like, hey, that's where I was raised. So many bad years, but so we have a coach. So we look at things more from a unit perspective. If we can sell units, volume and commission will take care of itself. Like if I try to hit, everyone, you look at these, 50 million, 80 million in volume. Well, today in this market, no kidding, you're doing 80 million in volume. I mean, there's some towns here, you sell 4 homes and you've done 80 million in volume. So we look at the units, so we really track that. But lately, we do look at the volume, but we're averaging, I would say we got together in 2008. We are just under 1,200 units sold since 2008, him and I. And, of course, the team members that we've had throughout that.
And since you started, how long did it take you to become a top producer?
I would say by 2013, so that's probably 4 or 5 years into the mix. Like my first year in 2008, I sold 5 properties. It wasn't exactly the best time to get in. But by 2012, 2013, we really had kind of gotten our groove. Chris was in Ocean City. I was in the Wildwoods. And so we were grinding it. We were really, there was inventory everywhere. And by 2013, we topped 100 transactions. And it's really pretty much been, I think 2023, we did not hit 100 transactions. We had like 85, but that was the first year since 2013 that we did not do a minimum of 100 deals. I think our best year was 185, 187.
Wow.
And that was only, that's 4 people.
Wow.
That's not, I don't have a team of 10 doing 183 deals. I have a team of 4. So we were banging it out. Yeah.
If you were a new agent and you had to start over tomorrow, how would you plan your day? What would you do?
I think the one thing you just said, the key word, plan. You have to have a schedule. You can't wing it. And when I say have a schedule, what you're going to do today is Wednesday or Thursday. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do Friday, I'm going to figure out Thursday before I leave the office. You have got to have a schedule, and you can box it, and you can depending on what type of personality you are, you can really box it down to the hours. You could say, okay, I'm getting up at this hour. I'm going to be at the office by this hour. From 8:30 to 11:30, I'm going to prospect. I'm going to have lunch. I'm going to do follow up at 1 o'clock. From 2 to 4, I'm going to be back on the phones, maybe looking for. I'm going to return a call. I'm going to be doing my social media if you plan stuff, if that's what you're looking to do there. And then from 4 to 7, 4 to 8, I'm on appointments. And if not, go home. You put in a full day's work. At 4 o'clock, if you don't have any appointments, you can go home. It's okay. You did your job. But I would say you got to have a schedule. You can't just wing it. That would be my number one thing to somebody.
Now, time blocking, that is a discipline task. I would say some personalities just can't do it. So, and there's some. I know that the top producers, guys are going to be time blocking, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is a good practice for someone who's maybe not the most organized, not the best time blocker? What would be some advice you give to that person?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You can always just start small. You don't have to time block your whole day. You need to look at it from a standpoint of, in real estate, it's always evolving. In pretty much since I've been in it, people don't come to you. Like, they had this thing called floor time at one point. I'm sure in some places they still have floor time. But that's when the buyer would come to you. You do have to put aside some time in the course of your work day that you're going to be working and doing something. So however you figure that out, you don't have to block out 9 to 5, but if you can say, okay, I'm going to make an effort every morning that I'm going to go out and I'm going to real estate. I'm going to do something that's going to try to find business for myself. I think that you can start there and then try to build on it. Okay, all right, I got this. I kind of figured this out. Okay, maybe I can now add this a little bit later in the day. And you sort of develop into maybe a block. Maybe you don't have 4 blocks in a day, you only have 2, but at least you got 2. You have to have some sort of organization. If you can't wing it.
Right.
You just can't. You can't wing it.
What would you say to someone who wants to be a top producer? Let's just say they're in for 5 years. They're doing okay.
Yeah.
They're staying afloat. but they want to take it to the next level. What would you say would be some strategies maybe, that they can implement into their business tomorrow that can help them get to that next level?
Okay. I would say that you should always try to find a couple of mentors. There has to be people in your office that are top producers. There's somebody in your office that's doing more than you are. Mentor them. See if they'll take 10, 15 minutes out of the course of a week and just sit with you. What are you doing to be successful in selling or with buying? What's your niche? Are you a buyer's agent or are you a listing agent? And if you want to do both, and you should be able to do both, how do you do that? So try to find a mentor or somebody that's either in your office or maybe within your real estate community in your town, and not just one. Try to find 2 or 3 and you mentor them. You can shadow them, you maybe show up for a day and just kind of see what they're doing. Because that's more of a, I'm going to use the word free here, because that you're not spending money. Like I could say to you, get a real estate coach, and that'll help you with discipline and all that kind of stuff. But that's not going to be free. So if you could find find mentors in your office, find other top producers that are in your office, that are in your market, that you can shadow and you can talk to about and see what they're doing. The internet with YouTube and that kind of stuff. There are podcasts and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff with people that are out there that are discussing real estate. This is how my day goes. This is what I'm doing when I'm dealing with sellers, or this is how I'm doing my buyers, or if I'm farming or all that kind of stuff. You can certainly go to YouTube, listen to podcasts, and they will certainly give you some instructions on how to get yourself going, how to potentially get yourself to the next level. If you want to build a team, don't. But you can certainly, there's stuff that you can certainly, again, talk to other people maybe within your office that do have a team. How would I do that? And social media groups too. They have them out there. That how did you build your team? What did you do? What was structures and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot goes into building a team, more so than just you and you are going to work for me. Like there's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
So, but that would be my thing. Find mentors, find people you can talk to, and it's, like I said, I use the word free, but it is. It's not necessarily costing you anything. They're in your world. Use them.
Mm-hmm. And do you offer coaching at all?
So when someone does come to our team, yes, we do offer coaching to them. It's just part of a collaborative with being on the team. Whether you're a brand new agent or whether you're a seasoned agent that you're just looking for different ways to go about things. My brother was a coach at MFO for a number of years, so we do have that. We're not a coaching service. We just, if you're coming onto our team, we want you to be successful. Sure. We want you to know what to say when you're going to say it. And that's all about it. Questions. Selling is not telling. Selling is asking questions. So how do you go about doing that? I mean, I can tell you something all day long, and it's just tell. That's not going to be helpful to you. So we try to coach them along with regards to asking questions and things like that. How do you keep a conversation moving in the right direction so you can get to your desired end result? And you do that through asking questions. So we teach them that in formats on how to do that. Not magic pills, but just maybe some questions on how to do things.
Is your team currently open to taking on new agents?
Yes, we are. We always we just brought on an agent probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, brand new. I mean, even teaching them how to write contracts and stuff like that. So we do, whether you're a seasoned agent, maybe you just want to come onto a team, or you're brand new. Yeah, either one. Always.
Okay. What are some qualities you look at, when you're talking to someone who maybe want to join the team or become part of your team? I
think you have to be coachable, first and foremost. You have to be very open-minded, because you're going to be sitting down with myself or with Chris. We have a team. We have a closing coordinator. We have a listing coordinator. So there's always moving parts within the team. So you're going to be interacting with people. So what type of skills do you have with interacting with people? Your ability to talk. I mean, are you just in your phone screen all the time and you can't necessarily communicate? But coachable is really probably the top of the rung from a standpoint of, I need that from you. Or is it just, we're sitting down, we're discussing maybe a situation, potentially some questions you could ask, and it's always oh yeah, well I did that. Yeah, I did that. Well, I said that. And it becomes this, okay, well if you said that, why are we now having this conversation? So I think that, I talked a little bit earlier about like a work ethic and things to that nature. That's always important. there was a time when we were very office based. We wanted you in the office, and it doesn't really work today. So, you mentioned the word accountability earlier, and like, are you accountable? And you can kind of pick that up from somebody when you are talking with them. Like, if I'm going to let you work from home during the week and you don't have to be in the office 5 days a week, are you going to be working? Like, am I going to be hearing from you that you don't have any money and you're not getting any deals and all this kind of stuff? And then I look, I look at your dialing reports and stuff like that, and it's like, well, you're not working. Like, if you're in the office, I can see you, and I can help you, I can coach you along, I can maybe, we can talk about a conversation you just had with somebody. However, if you're going to work from home, which we kind of allow them, people to do nowadays, because that's our world. Do you work when you're at home? So like those 3 or 2, 3, 4 things are probably the most important. Like the coachable is number one. You've got to be coachable. Because we're always learning. I mean, even today, I'm still learning. I still have a real estate coach. My brother still has a coach, 20-something years. So we're always learning. You got to be coachable.
So let's just say you're a real estate agent and you just made your first $100,000.
Okay.
You finally hit 6 figures. How would you invest that money to help you grow your business, also help you, just for your own financials, because you don't know maybe when your next closing might be?
Yeah, 100%. I remember my brother telling me when he first got into it, he sat down with his broker, and the first training thing that they said to him was you got 6 months worth of money for expenses? He's like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's going to take you a little while to get it. So you never know when that next check. I would say first and foremost, you make your first $100,000, pay your taxes. It's not all your money. Pay your taxes. You need to. We talked a little bit about structure, and you get $100,000. You should be able to sit there and down and say, okay, I've made $100,000. 25% of that $100,000 is going to taxes. Maybe even 30, depending on how much you're going to make. But I've seen so many, and good friends of mine through the years too, you've got to take a chunk of that and it's got to be put aside. It's not your money. So you have it for your taxes, and you're not scrambling the following year to try to make all this money to pay it. So put that aside. So now, not to be analytical, so now we're dealing with 75, if you're dealing with 75,000, I think you have to start to look at, what kind of marketing do I want to do? Am I going to be social media driven? Am I going to be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? What part of that am I going to be able to do, and what are the costs that go into that? I'm at $100,000 GCI. How many units did it take for me to get to that? Because maybe I need to hire an assistant now. Because if I do 4 or 5 deals in a month, I am now working. I'm doing non-income producing activity. I'm working those 4 or 5 pending. So now it becomes, I'm not doing anything to get more business. So I'm just working these 4 or 5 deals. And now those 4 or 5 deals close. To your point, you make your 100,000. Well, now I'm starting at 0 again, because I haven't been doing anything except for working those deals. So maybe I need to hire an assistant now that can work my deals, so I can now go find new deals, and just always adding to the bucket. I've got 4 or 5 in there. 2 close, add 2. 2 close, add 2. 1 closes, add 1. So an assistant, maybe you should hire an assistant at that point. And then really from a standpoint of how can I expand my business and do more, maybe I should stop prospecting. Like, how did I do those first 5 deals to get me to 100,000 GCI, and repeat it? If you can have a repetitive business, if you can have a source, like, okay, I'm going to do expireds, cold calling, farming, 3 buyer sales, and you look back at your 4 or 5 sales and say, okay, that's how I did it. Repeat it. How did I do that? Does it cost me money to repeat that? So those would be, I think, taking your taxes and getting yourself an assistant, because that's just going to allow someone to take a lot of stuff off your plate, and you can go find new business for sure.
That's amazing. Those are amazing tokens.
Yeah, you have to.
If you give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Oh, I would honestly say to my younger self, so when I bought the restaurant, I had a partner, and amicably we dissolved it in 2000, 2001. I would probably tell my younger self, because I was flipping a couple of properties back then, pay attention to the closing sheet and how much commission the real estate agent's making, and don't buy your partner out. Go into real estate.
So get into
So in
it.
2001, I should have gotten into real estate, not in 2008. That's what I would probably tell my younger self. But I'm where I am today because I didn't. So I have what I have because of that. So I'm okay with it.
So amount of time in the business is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy with it though. I've been very fortunate. I mean, I've worked for myself since 1996. So it's now 2025. So, who's going to complain about that?
That's my whole lifespan right
there. Okay. Well, great. Yeah. Yeah. But it's okay. Yeah, I love it. I love what I do. There are definitely peaks and valleys. Emotional. We always try to tell our team that you have to be the calming force in a very emotional situation. Buying and selling it's all emotion. You're purchasing a property, you're emotionally invested in it. You're selling your property, and especially here, like in second homes, it could have been in someone's family for like 75 years, 50 years, and all those memories, and now they're selling it because no one uses it or something. That's an emotional, just tearing, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I love what I do.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Joe, I really appreciate your time here.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope we can chat more for a longer time in the future.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah.
Have me here.
I think we'll do next episode. We'll have you on progress, and we'll talk about some of like the top spots, things to do in the area, and we'll do that next time.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Love
Thank
it.
you so
Thanks,
much.
man. Thanks for having me. Awesome. Thank you. All right.